and start the recording. And I hope everyone is doing okay. I know that we've all been kind of going through a lot with COVID-19 and everyone's responsibilities are split, and we're sort of tackling many different things and also working with volunteers and family. So if there's anything that, we can do as a community, let us know. And just know that, we're thinking about all of you and our colleagues and hoping everyone is doing okay. All right. All right, so with that, do we have any announcements today from anyone on the call? Okay. All right, well, hearing none, if we, of course, do have some that come up, then I'll send them out to the listserv and make sure that we all get a copy. I know John included some topics in the e-news blast. And then our next discussion is May 19th at 2 p.m. We are potentially going to be discussing conflict management in volunteer programs. So kind of keep that on your radar. I reached out to a couple of speakers and I'm waiting for them to touch base with me to find out if they're able to make that one. So the tentative topic is conflict management. All right, so Dalicia and Eva, would you all like to go ahead and introduce yourselves and then just let me know when you need me to advance the screen?
Of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Dalicia Davis. I am a project specialist with the University of Minnesota Extension. I've been in this role for about 5 years almost. It's coming in January. And so my primary duty is to manage a lot of the projects, a lot of the kind of like behind the scenes things that happen with both the Extension Master Gardener program as well as our Minnesota Landscape Arboretum volunteer program. And so about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago, I was tasked with, given the task of rather, helping to develop diversity, equity, inclusion for our Extension Master Gardener program. And so that's kind of how I got into this role. The subcommittee was originally organized by Sue DeBleek out of Iowa State University. Her and I met around the time I was appointed with this task. She had attended our Minnesota State program conference and we got connected that way. And then it just kind of transformed from there. When we met again, I believe at the, I think it was the last NECV conference that happened in Madison, Wisconsin a couple of years ago. So that's just a little bit about how I got into this particular role with the subcommittee. Ava, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Eva Pabon, and I'm from the University of Florida, and I am in Osceola County. That's like, if you know where Walt Disney World is, we're the next county. So we're the suburbs of Walt Disney and Orange County. So I've been in this role since 2015, but I have been with Extension since 2003. So for many years, I was the program assistant for the Horticulture program and the Master Gardener coordinator. And the agent that was previously in that role got a position in California. So I was promoted to be the Master Gardener coordinator and residential horticulture agent. So I have been indirectly working with the Master Gardeners since 2003, but then directly since 2015. So I have been involved with this subcommittee for 2 years now. And everything started with a coworker that left me and went to work for the bee lab in the university. But she and I always were talking about how we can make the volunteer program more diverse. And then she went to one of the conference, met this beautiful and wonderful group and invited me to be part of the committee. So that's probably the basics about me right now.
Thanks, Ava. If you want to, thanks, Nicole. So our presentation will be kind of short and sweet today, but we're going to kind of just outline our objectives and mission, a plug for membership, sharing resources, and then some tips, reminders, and action steps as well. And just a heads up, well, I'm obviously working from home and I have a toddler who I'm trying to kind of keep at bay, but I hear him back there. So if you hear any noise in the background, that's what that is. I'll do my best to kind of keep it to a minimum. But thanks, Nicole, for proceeding for me. So how our objectives and missions came about. We actually, in one of our first few meetings, we kind of set the framework for what we wanted to do, and then how we wanted to best achieve that as a group. We have since lost some of the original members. That's totally okay. They ventured out. Like Eva said, her coworker had taken another position, and then some folks have left Extension in the last couple of years. So, but they helped in developing this, the mission and objectives for us. And so our objectives, if you want to go to the next one, Nicole. Starting with the mission, it's really to just create and compile resources and tools that can help our state and county Master Gardener coordinators in their efforts to foster inclusivity, but also, that are inclusive of and represent the communities in which they serve. And then our objectives are to cross-pollinate across Master Gardener programs. So the most obvious thing there is sharing of resources and tools and ideas and things like that. And then continue to plan ways our subcommittee can influence the work of the Extension Master Gardener program. And then so one of the things, and that this might be on one of the upcoming slides, is our support of the Extension National Committee. So some of you may know we met, and then Charlotte's on the phone as well. She's a part of the National Committee. But one of our original meetings was held, or our only in-person meeting, rather, I should say, was held in January of last year. I'm actually a part of the National Committee as well, I should say. And so I sit as a ad hoc member, per se, and I kind of serve and provide there, and then provide updates for the diversity subcommittee. But we met last January in Davis, California. Missy Gable out of UC Davis kind of helped to facilitate and organize that from the SWOT analysis that some of you probably took like a couple of falls ago, the end of 2 years ago, I think it was. And so we developed the National Committee strategic priorities from that SWOT analysis that some of you all may have taken at that time. And then so from there, we kind of were a little bit confused. Well, not really confused, but what came of that as far as it relates to the subcommittee is that we could actually, based on each of the strategic priorities we determined we would focus on, we could kind of filter diversity work throughout. Because I was originally advocating for diversity and inclusion to have its own, to be its own strategic priority, I guess. But then the consensus ended up being that we would just filter bits of it throughout each of the strategic priorities. And so next, just a quick plug before we go on. We'd love to have any one of you on our team. We, like I said, unfortunately have lost a few members because of, them switching jobs, roles, leaving Extension, and so on. You can definitely email me regarding membership. It doesn't require a lot. We meet typically once a month, the same week as the National Committee meets. The National Committee meets the second Tuesday of the month, and we usually meet that following Thursday. And then that's just a quick list of some of our other current members, regular members. So I don't know, Nicole, if you can quick, and it may not even be necessary, but as far as resources, and Ava can probably provide a little bit more insight to the DEI extension site that was recently rolled out. And I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Ava, the University of Tennessee, them in partner with another university, I don't remember, but I know for sure University of Tennessee had a major hand in developing that resource for us. There's plenty of information there, tips and tools, and different things that you can use in your attempts to develop diversity within your own state and county programs. So just take a quick look at that site. Also, our subcommittee member, Kate Garland, a couple of years ago, rolled out a toolkit site for her Maine, University of Maine Master Gardener volunteers. It is password protected, but you can totally take that link down and use the password and kind of sift through the information that she's outlined or provided there for her volunteers. And so it's an excellent resource. Actually, I just want a quick note too. One of the things that I'm planning to, with the help of a couple of our extension educators here in Minnesota, is to develop a toolkit for our volunteers to use. So my work will be more, well, I won't say it'll be more centered towards volunteers. I do use a lot of coordinator input to do what I do as well. So there will be some things for coordinators utilize, but primarily for volunteers, as what Kate has done there at the University of Maine, if you take a look when you get a chance. And so a toolkit, I was gonna share the document, but I think I could just, maybe we can get it to everybody in an email. What it is, what we've one of our educators here created is kind of like a cheat sheet for our University of Minnesota community engagement toolkits. And so our toolkits, if any of you aren't familiar, are really a compilation of learning materials and opportunities for volunteers to use in their community engagement work. We have a set of 10 priorities that we go by when we develop learning opportunities for our volunteers. That's also something I can share with you all if you're not familiar. So there's like pollinators, there's water conservation or water wisely. There is a nature heals component, and a couple others, plant biodiversity. I don't know why I can't think of them all off the top of my head right now, but we don't have toolkits yet for all of them. We do have toolkits for the water wisely, the pollinators, and the nature heals aspect of our program priorities. And so within those toolkit components are, there's different levels that we use to kind of deepen the, different materials rather that we use to kind of deepen the learning level for the volunteers. So the first level is just the basic stuff. So that'll be handouts, brochures, one-page flyers, buttons and things like that that they can distribute in the community. And this is, of course, I should note, for these particular toolkits after they've taken the training for that particular area. And then the next level is advanced training, continuing education, and things like that. And then eventually there's there's coursework and certification through our university programming. That's like the deepest level of the learning kit, I should say, or continuum of learning that we've developed. And so basically, like I originally noted, that's kind of what our toolkit for diversity inclusion will eventually look like. And so that's in the works here at the U, at our university. Again, I'm working with one of our extension educators to kind of develop that and what it looks like, because a part of it too here will be our university system uses database called Canvas. Some of you might know that. I know one of our one of our members from Colorado State, Katie Dunker, actually just developed a Canvas, a whole like training session that volunteers can access through the Canvas Canvas database, or I can't even think of the right word for it. But so eventually, yeah, one of our components of this training for diversity for our volunteers will be an online Canvas course that they can also take. So with that, I would just say consider what a toolkit might look for your program. Take a look at Kate's site, the extension site as well, and I'll figure out a way to share our materials with you guys so that you can kind of get an idea of how that might translate into the diversity work you would hope to do for your programs.
Yeah, Dalicia, there's been a few folks who contacted me before the webinar, and they're interested in the recording. So if you can send me the resources that you talked about, we can include that in the recording link that we send out to the listserv. And also, I just wanted to ask if anyone has looked at these resources from the dei.extension.org site or the University of Maine or Minnesota. If anyone has used these resources, or if you intend to check them out after this webinar, could you let us know in the chat box? I'm just curious if anyone has experience using them. And I'll go ahead and go to the next slide.
Ava, you want to take it away?
Yeah, that's fine. So one of the things, and we did the update, but also we want to share some of the information that probably will be part of the toolkit eventually, and especially if you want to increase diversity in your group and with your volunteers. And the first thing that you need to do is plan, is set your goals, with the new group of people, see the demographics in your county, in your area, and build new relationships. And I will give you an example. For my case, I live in a county that is 51% Latinos, and there is, from those Latinos, there is a group of Brazilians, and there is different groups. So what I have been doing, I recruit two volunteers from Brazil, and they help me with that community. So because I cannot speak Portuguese, I can speak Spanish, but I cannot speak Portuguese. And then I reach out to them. So I build that new relationship to set goal and reach out another group. That one is just one example. Identify friends and colleagues, they are like community members and other volunteers that can help you to set your goals. And when I said colleagues, I will tell you, like, so many times, I lost the page on my page. I don't know why. There you go. So I can tell you, like, in so many cases, I have other agents reaching out to me and asking me, Eva, can you do this for me in Spanish? Can you help me to do something for the Latino community in my county? And I'm happy to do it. So, and then I also, I have reached out to other agents. Again, I will always use myself as an example. In our county, there is a church that is very dominant in this area, and I was invited to go and teach at the women's club. So, but before I went there, I reached out to someone that I know is part of that church, and it's like, hey, can you give me some advice, how I should dress to respect, and what I should do. So that is reaching, and she was one of my colleagues because she lives in the area. So reach out always and find that information from someone that is part of the community or not someone in that group. Okay, so also identify actions and steps to reach your goal. Who will be responsible in your group? Do you need to involve your assistant, your secretary? Which volunteers are going to help you? What resources you need, and do a timeline. Okay, so my big goal is that in 5 years or less, I want to have a full Spanish training. So that's my timeline. How I'm going to do that? So I will tell you little by little how I started. So my first step to be able to do this is I recruit agents from the University of Puerto Rico So they translate everything. They can teach the classes. So when I'm ready to do that class in Spanish, what I can do, I can ask the agents from Puerto Rico to be my guests as speakers through Zoom or through all this new technology that we're experimenting now through COVID-19. So do a timeline. You cannot do all at once, but you can do step by steps. Okay, so that's very important. Can we go next? Next slide. Also, act, go out there, you know, write articles in another language other than English. And you know, I'm sure you, like in my case, I don't need to reach out to anyone for Spanish, but I started the conversation with my Brazilian volunteers to write at least small articles for their newsletter in Portuguese. I have to trust them. So that is, I have built that trust through the last 2-3 years. Now we're ready. And not only that, I have been doing some work with one of the researchers in the university that she's also from Brazil, and we're working on something in Portuguese through my volunteers. Okay. So if you want to do a web design and do something that is attractive, make sure that you use text rather than graphics. Okay, maximize the contrast and use relative settings to users, you know, that you don't have to scroll down so much. And where we're talking about the web design, it's not just about the language. Remember, I'm a big advocate of diversity, and diversity is not just what language I speak, where I was born, what is my accent, okay? It's also about those who are colorblind. It's also about people that are blind. So how we can maximize our design to really attract a different audience. If you look at the statistics of master gardeners, more than 50% of the master gardeners are females with college degree. But that doesn't mean we cannot reach out to that mom that decide to be a stay-home mom and have never worked, and she still want to be a master gardener. Okay, or that young couple, they have 2 kids and they're working through their degree and they still can be a master gardener. So how we can reach out to them. So when we're looking about designs and website, we have to look at all that. Do videos, and now there is a big push on use the closed caption and be ADA approved when you're doing videos. So I'm not going to go in detail with that because every university has their own guidelines. And integrate a DEI component into your basic training. So I do that. I have been doing that for the last 5 years, where part of our training during the basic Master Gardener training, we take a whole afternoon, at least 2 hours when we do diversity, equity, and inclusion class. And so from the beginning, from their basic training, they know my expectations and what we want as a group. Next one.
Ava, I just wanted to mention the fact that you integrate a DEI component in your training also kind of creates that organizational culture of what the expectations are and inclusivity. That's a really important thing, and I applaud you for doing that.
Thank you. So also learn what are the strengths and the points toward the projects that you want to, capitalize on those trends. So you have a master gardener, you have a group, and it's interesting. You will think that, oh, Eva's Latina, Eva speaks Spanish, half of her volunteers are Latinos. No, that will be a myth, okay? So I will say that I have like 12 Latinos and I have 82 volunteers, okay? So, but I will tell you, my last class, it was the probably really good mix of volunteers. I had Latinos. I have two young students that they're in their 20s taking the program. Actually, they're 19 years old and they're great volunteers. It was probably the most diverse class I have, because I look what I have, the volunteers are helping me. I start promoting my program in every single place, not just in specific areas. So that you need to look at your strengths. One of the things that I have a big I'm a bit advocate is, yes, I love awards and I love recognitions for volunteers, but it's very important that we use that based on facts. And what I said that is and when I say facts, I means about hours, projects, something that you can actually pull from a report and said, this person has the most hours, this person has this. Because in the past, when we had it in our county that we will do like the Master Gardener of the Month, it was a popularity contest. So it was the same group of people recognizing the same group of people, and then they were not efforts. So I said, for me, it's easier to do the awards based on facts, since there is not that the favorite group, is just how they work and what are the expectations from you as an agent or coordinator. And that avoid a lot of that, oh, she doesn't like me, or, you know, it's a favorite group, and you can actually be more diverse and inclusive when you're doing these groups. Can you go back one real quick? And when it's possible, and this is from the previous person, also I work, not Amy, but another, she was from Michigan. When it's possible, I know this is very hard, and this is part of my 5-year plan, is to do the training in a different location and a different day or time. Okay, so I do my training every Tuesday in the fall, but I want to do the training at one point in the evenings. How I'm going to do it, I don't know, but that is the only way I'm going to be able to get a different group of people. So when you can and when it's possible, change the location, change the training day and time. Next one. So also engage with the different diverse community and identify those volunteers that can be part of the community. Teach your volunteers, and I have seen a big change in my volunteers, knowledge of extension, when we teach them about what is actually extension. So teach them that 4-H is not just cows and chickens. 4-H is way more than that. Get the master gardeners to be involved with 4-H. You know, like the conservation tours, the food conservation, soil testing. Teach them everything. Build the trust on your volunteers. Next one. And looking for the future, I think Dalicia also will jump on this one.
Yeah.
But we are looking for new members. Like we said earlier, some of the members have moved to better jobs or to better positions, or, you know, they have more responsibilities. So we want you. If you're in this call and you want to listen to what are the updates of our subcommittee, is because you care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we need you. And it's also good that we are hopefully getting you in part of our committee and getting new ideas. So we're working on the toolkit, like she said earlier. We're hoping to do a presentation in the Master Gardener Conference. We're submitting an abstract where we will do probably an example of my class or any of the other classes that we do during, if we can travel from here to September. So we're planning to do some classes and, you know, provide you or create best practices documents, and, you know, keep being as supportive to the national committee.
Yeah, so what it looks like, and we just had our April national committee meeting yesterday. So it's highly likely that the conference, is it the NEC? No, it's the coordinator conference, the NECC conference that was scheduled for Tennessee in September. It's very likely that will be moved to a virtual format. It hasn't been decided yet. Natalie Baumgartner, the Tennessee director, our state coordinator, is really opposed to canceling it entirely. So again, it's likely that that'll be moved to a virtual format, and we'll probably still be able to present or do something that we were intending to do in person through that avenue. So that's something to be on the lookout for. And then again, a best practices document. Some of our work was a bit delayed prior to the COVID-19 pandemic because of our different universities and policies and things like that. The best practices document is an example of that. What we were wanting to outline is a best practices for coordinators as far as civil rights documenting and data collection and things like that. And where it stands now is it's in review at UC Davis because of legalities. Like I said, the differences between our states, and it would be a representation of the national committee in each of our universities. So that's kind of why it's in limbo, and it has been there for a while for those reasons. But that is something that we wanted to distribute at the national level. And then make available on the resource repository along with other items that we would develop in the near future. I think we had set a goal for 2020 I think our main goal was to develop our presentations for the upcoming conferences and actually present, work on our proposals being accepted and being able to present and just kind of get the word out about our subcommittee and keep things alive. But of course, with everything that's transpiring in the world, that's kind of like shifted the focus. So, but again, be on the lookout. I think Charlotte just chatted a plug for the September conference, and like she reiterated, it'll likely be virtual. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, our ongoing support of the National Committee strategic priorities. So again, diversity and inclusion, we determined would be able to fit into each of those priorities. I don't have the list here. Charlotte has worked very diligently. I'm also a subcommittee member with her on the development. Charlotte, I forgot, I can't even remember the name right now, but we're working on developing best practices, basically onboarding materials and things of the like for coordinators when they're new to the program, getting the word out about the committee and how we can be of service to them. Charlotte recently aligned, and some of you may have seen that survey at the national level, but Charlotte did a call for survey responses, and she developed and formulated that perfectly, I think, and that's going to help us with our development of these different onboarding practices for new coordinators at the national level. Oh, sorry, the next one to go. Oh, so just a quick note, if I just seen Missy's chat. Thank you, Missy. UC Davis did a legal review to look at the federal policies. One thing I should mention is that we had a contact at NIFA. Things kind of fell through there. We because of like position I guess people moved positions, left jobs, like we were discussing with an extension that happened at NIFA as well. So it was there, and then we got a response so long thereafter saying, no, we don't have a contact, that person's not with us anymore, or something along those lines. I think I'm framing it maybe a little off or nicely. But anyhow, if you just take a look at what Missy has confirmed, they haven't published, NIFA hasn't published any legal guidance around contact reporting that her legal team could find. So their policies are that of the parent organization, USDA. And those are much more general. And we'll work on reconciling that with our national committee and subcommittee so that when we do actually published this best practices document. It is accurate and correct and usable. Sorry, guys. And so we're just gonna wrap up here. I think, again, get the information to Nicole for everyone as far as, I think the links were shared for the sites, but then I'll also share some documents that we use here at the University of Minnesota. And this is our current list of members. Our original team, yep, everybody listed here was actually with us when we first started a couple of years back. And so you could take any or all of our information down and reach out to us for whatever help or assistance you may need. And we do thank you, of course, for spending this afternoon with us. Again, my apologies. It's a work from home time for me. I really am thinking about, like, Nicole, I want to reiterate what you said earlier, that my thoughts and prayers are with everyone. It is a little hard for me. I would love to be out and about and fresh air as frequently as possible. Minnesota has a stay-at-home order right now extended through May. So I do try to just get out and enjoy that time out when I need to go to the store and things, but just hope everybody does stay safe, and hopefully we can get through this with our sanity intact. So anything you wanted to add, Ava?
Yes, I just wanted to add, I am available. You guys have my email there, but if you ever need anything in Spanish, like either and I always offer this, like if you want to add a small clip after we can go to the hairstylist, obviously we were talking about that. I will not be in video right now with my hair looking like it is looking, but after all this, if you ever need either a small video or a small paragraph for a local newspaper in Spanish, I'm always available to translate and help you with anything that you need. Also, if at any point of time you want to have a Zoom meeting and I will show you the basics of what I teach my master gardeners during basic training, I'll be happy to do that. I wanted to mention the DEI-Extension website has very good resources, and they have a short course that you can take. It's primarily for 4-H leaders and 4-H agents, but it can apply to master gardeners. All the information there, but it's very good. It's a free resource. You get like a leader certificate, but it's very, very good. And also, I just want to encourage you, if you see anything that is about diversity, equity, and inclusion, be part of it. Take the training. There is a lot of different information there, but it's important to just continue learning and applying what we learn through diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah, those are great points. Thanks for reminding us about the links, because that would be a good place to start if someone wants to integrate a DEI class as part of their Master Gardener volunteer training. And maybe we can set something up in the future that talks about the class specifically that you've done, Ava, and how that might apply to the rest of us that want to integrate that into training. But excellent points, good resources. I'll save the chat and send out the links in the chat and some of the updates that you all have provided in a follow-up email. And I really appreciate Ava and Dalicia, you both talking with us, reminding us to include this in our programs, and giving us some great resources to either help us augment what we're already doing or get us started. And I'll include, in Hillsborough County, we worked with our county communications office just to develop, like fact sheet templates that follow guidelines for legibility and font and color. And if anyone is interested, I can send those to folks if you want to use those as a template, because they were designed to meet ADA accessibility guidelines. So that was helpful that they worked with us on that. And now it's just a quick template that we fill in as needed. So if anyone else on the call has resources that you want to share with the group, you're welcome to email me and I'll compile them and send them all out. Do we have any comments or questions from folks on the call? Okay. Well, hearing none, we'll compile this information, send it out to everyone. Thank you all for being aware of the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our extension programs. And thanks to Eva and Dalicia for giving us some great resources and sharing us the successes that you all have in your programs. So we look forward to learning more and doing a better job. And thank you both, especially today and amid everything that we're all going through. Again, we really appreciate you presenting and everyone being on the call today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
all.
Take
Have a
care.
really great rest of your week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.